Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. So recently I've been bringing you guys a lot of tournament games in SSOU and a lot of OLT games for SSOU, which are glorified ladder tournament games, if you will, and plenty of other metagame analysis videos. However, there have also been a series of videos that I've been doing on different parts of the game, such as picking a lead, or going over team preview and finding as much information as possible from it and using it to your advantage throughout the game. However, a concept that I haven't yet touched on, and something that's been heavily requested both in comments and in my Discord server, which, by the way, join guys, are approaching 700 people, and it's really active and a really fun place to discuss. But anyway, a place for those type of discussions has been in the comments in my Discord server. And people are like, yo, Finch, can you make a video on how to approach endgames? I tend to be able to get predictions right. I'm really good with the team preview stuff, but I'm struggling with late games. I feel like I'm not able to secure victories. So in this video, we're going to be using it as a resource to discuss endgames. So I'm bringing you guys 3 of my recent tournament games. This first one is going to be for the quarterfinals of the RU Open. That's like the 7th or 8th round of the tournament. We've made it all the way. I won the series, spoiler alert, but I made it all the way to the final 6 now of RU Open, which is the biggest RU tournament of the year, so it's really cool. And I wanted to bring you guys a game from it, but also it goes over some serious endgame analysis and securing a lead. And then I also have a black and white overused and a black and white underused game from recent important tournaments as well I'm going to go over. But beforehand, I do have something that I need to discuss. I need to bring your attention. It's of the utmost importance. If you want to get better at competitive Pokemon, guys, listen up. So recently I was talking with Jamvad, a fellow Pokemon YouTuber who puts out some amazing stuff and has an amazing peak as a player. And he wrote a book on competitive Pokemon called The Art of Competitive Pokemon, Making Competitive Pokemon Simple. And again, Jamvad's the author. And it just goes into amazing detail. Like, okay, normally I just say, oh, definitely check this out, plug in this channel, yada, yada, yada. But no, this is different. This is different. This deserves like a whole segment. I read through this whole book over the last week or so, and it is amazingly thorough. It gives you so much details. I'm going to say that it's foolproof, basically. If you read through this book, and you know what? I don't even want to say, if you read through this book and play alongside it. So it might take weeks or even months, but over the process, as long as you listen to his guidance, you will 100% see noteworthy improvement. And I can't stress enough, like, it goes through beginner, intermediate, etc. And here, let me 1 second. I can't put it in better words than him, so let me put it this way. Pokemon has so much to give, it's humbling. Remember your first starter Pokemon? Remember the rush you felt? Remember stumbling on your first Pokemon YouTube video? I do, and it's a moment that changed my life forever. Sadly, there's a problem. Pokemon is too hard to get into, and just to interject a little bit, yes it is. You open up Smilegun forums, you're like, holy crap, all this mumbo jumbo, it's so complicated. You look to find a battle on PS, you see all these formats, oh my god. And yeah, maybe you've gotten past that part, maybe you've started contributing, or you started playing, but you're still kind of struggling to make progress, improve, build your platform as a player, I get it. So Pokemon's too hard to get into. This means there are thousands of players that are missing out, and that's not okay. So in order to combat this, Jamvad created a book. No longer will players feel confused, no longer will they feel overwhelmed. The answer is here. So yeah, Jamvad, make competitive Pokemon content, started with a desire to share good battles and beat some of the story of the planet, and then he just goes into some details. So just to sum it up, in 2011 he started playing. He's from Jamaica, and a while browsing YouTube, he came across, some people like Killer Nacho, and he got pretty good at the game. He built some friendships, he got great, he played in tournaments, and then he wrote a book on this amazing journey that he's made. I mean, he's beat some of the top players. He had one of the best World Cup performances. He even beat me in a pretty lopsided fashion years ago. And the fact of the matter is that Jamvad is one of the highest ceiling players. He's great, and I just gotta say, look, I don't want to sell out. I'm not like super huge on advertisements. I just do the YouTube default ads. I don't even change the settings. But when it comes to Jamvad, definitely check out this book, guys. And I'm not saying this because I really need it myself. I mean, I actually did benefit from this book. Like, there's a part on intermediate and advanced that I actually learned a lot from myself. But for you guys, I think this is amazing. And my goal isn't to make money off of you guys. My goal is just to sit here and have people listen to me and feed my ego, although it definitely is being fed. My goal is for you guys to get better and to give back to the community that I've been a part of for 9 years. And this book does it better than I possibly could, guys. And I'm going to continue making videos, and I'm going to continue, improving this channel because it still makes individual differences. But this book is something that if you could spare the $19.98 to $20 for, then I would strongly advise going out of your way to do. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Click that link, and it'll also give a little percentage to me and help back this channel so I can hopefully afford a new mic soon, among other things. So that'd be great. But also, I would strongly check it out. this website, the link will be in the description for it, just a redirect link. Yeah, it's really simple, and I mean, you know Jamvad, definitely check out his channel as well. He's just a really smart player, and the way he outlines it is, it's genius, honestly, so definitely check it out, guys. And if you have any questions, or you're unsure, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to help you guys out. Again, if you buy the book or not, I still welcome you guys totally in my community. I'm not trying to say, oh no, you have to pay money. No. These videos are, accessible on YouTube, and I want to help you out regardless. But if you guys want to take this seriously and you can afford to do so, I definitely would advise checking this book out. It's not a super long read. It's not like homework or anything. No, it's actually really enjoyable. And if you play alongside it and you kind of go with the flow, it's definitely you're gonna see improvement no matter what. But anyway, this video is on endgame, something that Jamvad does touch on in his book. But before we get to that, I'm just gonna pause for a second. We'll get there now. Alright, we're back. So yeah, I'm against Dolly on the alt Carly Rae Jesus for the quarterfinals at RU Open. This is the final 12. It's a round robin final, so it goes 12-6-3 pretty much. But basically, what happens is for RU Open, you just play every round after round after round. I won every single round. I beat great players. I even beat the host, Mr. Aldo, who's a really good friend of mine. Unfortunately, I had to get paired with him. But yeah, so now we're here. We're both really solid players, and this is game 1 of our series. And I'm not really trying to highlight the whole series. If you guys want to see RU content, I'll bring you guys my run after I'm done with it, perhaps. But with that said, I do want to bring you guys this game in particular because I get into a lead early, so I make some good predictions, some nice mid grounds, and those are stuff we've already been over. But how do I secure my late game position? So I'm gonna just go over the early game quickly because we need that for context. Right off the bat, I lead with a Seismitoad here, and he U-turns into Lunardis. I'm choice band Seismitoad with Stealth Rock Pernajas, so I go for a knockoff to a nice 32%. So I know it's got some bulk on Lunardis, and something that will really help with endgames is calcing things out. So, for example, I calced out to see how much bulk that Lunardis had when Lurantis. Oh my god, it's Lurantis. I've said this wrong for so many videos. Oh my gosh. Lurantis had. So I knew what I was dealing with there, and I knew because of that it was definitely going to be in range for, say, Draco Meteor here. Not to mention Sludge Wave, or Sludge Bomb, depending on what you had, but I knew that I wouldn't want to go for Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb because he's got a Gastrodon and a Capernagon in his back. So because of that, I'm like, Draco's a good mid-ground, but he's going to predict a Draco mid-ground, undoubtedly, and he's not going to want to risk his Silvally Fairy, which I'm fairly certain it's Silvally Fairy because he's got a Steel type in the back, and not many other Fairy and Silvally types are common in RU, and it just makes sense. So I'm fairly certain he's going to go Copper, so I'm like, okay, if I Focus Blast into Silvally Fairy, then not the Endlord, I still have my own Copper Aja at full health, but if I Focus Blast into this, it's still going to 2-K up probably, and if I Focus Blast into this, then, it's going to do a million. So I Focus Blast here, I'm just making these kind of inferences, these plays, and unfortunately I missed, but that's fine, no big deal. It's still very early on in the game. He goes Rocks. I figured he'd go Rocks, he's got no other rocker, and I get that off for a nice 77% anyway. I know he's quicker than me, so I go right out to my Rotom here on the Heavy Slam, and I only take 35%. Well, only it's resisted, but that means it's an offensive Capur given the Focus Blast damage. So I go for Defog here. I'm like, okay, I give it the evasion, but it's fine. It can't really threaten the entirety of my team. I go Volt Switch, and unfortunately the Volt Switch goes to the left, which is always a funny sight to see. He goes for Superpower. I'm like, okay, so long as I hit this one, I am in a very fine position. Even then, I live with Superpower if I miss for some reason. So yeah, I want to go for the Volt anyway. I don't want to let him potentially double into something on the Dragology. And he goes Leaf Storm here, perhaps predicting something else like the Gardevoir. But yeah, the Dragology takes it, and now that I've weakened this, I'm feel free to go to a Draco. I know he's going to predict the Sludge Wave, so I don't want to do any risks here. He goes Sigilyph. I go my Gardevoir knowing, okay, I can take any 2 hits probably. As you see there, it's probably Life Orb. Heat Wave does 37. I go for a Moonblast and I get a drop, so his Side Shock only does about quarter damage. And that leaves me at potential range to live a Heat Wave later on, so I double out here. Now, basically, the idea was, I know he's going to potentially Revenge Guild, so if it's Silvally Steel or Poison for some reason, he'll go to that, and I can take advantage of both of those sides, so as long as it's not Grassy Pledge, but more likely he's going to go to Specially Defensive Gastrodon, which comfortably lives to a Moonblast, and I'm Choice Band Power Whip, so I feel real comfortable with that play. I make the double switch there, knowing it's very low risk, high reward. That works out. He goes to Lurantis, and I Power Whip, just saying, okay, maybe he's not going to scout for it, but that's fine. I don't mind. He's giving my Copper in here, and he doubles the Sigilyph here, perhaps predicting the Dragology, so this is a good mid-ground for me. I knew that if he goes for Superpower, okay, that might be annoying, but I still have something to outrun and Revenge Kill it, but he might double to something that predicted Dragology here, i.e. the either Choice Band Pissimian or the Sigilyph, and I don't think it was Choice Band Pissimian, it's probably Sigilyph, and that puts Copper in a great position. It was just kind of an all-encompassing mid-ground there. So yeah, he goes to it, and now he goes back to Gastrodon here. I go Heavy Slam, and that leaves me in a good idea of what his spread is, given the Heavy Slam damage in my investment. Now, I'm able to go Rotom-Mow here on a Scald. Good play by the opponent, but unfortunately, no reward with a burn there. And now I know for a fact that the Lurantis is coming in here, so I go for a Volt Switch, and I've got my Dragalge again, and now it's time to fire off a Draco. Now, at this point, I was still fairly certain that he'd predict the Sludge because it hit the Silvally Fairy, since it was pretty obvious that he was Silvally Fairy. So I go for the Draco there, and he knows Passimian would live one, or the Gastrodon would live comfortably, but Gastrodon doesn't want to live 2 Draco Meteors. It would be a roll at best for him. So I dropped the Draco knowing that one of those is coming in more likely than not, and my Copper was still at full health, so I wasn't really worried about Silvally Fairy, knowing I could even live 2 special attack invested Flamethrowers from it, and they're more likely not going to be physical with multi-attack, Swords Dance, Defog, Parting Shot, U-turn type of moves, even maybe Psychic Fangs, although that's more of an NU move. But yeah, I knew I wasn't too worried about it, so I went for the Draco there. That works out, and now I'm in a really good position. So at this point, Sigilyph comes in, and I go to my Capernaja here, and he goes for a Roost. I'm like, okay, it's actually a mid-roll for me to kill with Heavy Slam, so I go for it, but he gets the Heat Wave up here. And now, unfortunately, he lives. And now I'm in a position where, okay, I have something weakened. I didn't have a turn necessarily go my way there, in that he made the right play. He got the chip on me. And now look at my position overall here. So I have 6 Pokemon. He has 4, and 2 of them are weakened. So it's definitely a favorable position. So at this point, I know I'm ahead. So now we're approaching the end game. How can he find a way to come back and win this game, and how can I prevent that? Let's look at the opponent. So sometimes when you have a lead, you want to say, okay, what is the win condition for the opponent? You don't want to lose sight of your own win condition. You don't want to lose sight of your own path, but you want to see, okay, if I go passive, if I make the conservative plays and cover all the bases, then what could he do to potentially take advantage of that, gain positioning advantage, and win the game himself? And the answer to that is, if it is in fact a Silvally Fairy, which, using my metagame knowledge and the context clues of the game, I'm thinking it's more likely than not Silvally Fairy. It could be Silvally Poison, but I'm not going to hinge my bets on that, but I know it's one of the two. The fact of the matter is that both of them struggle with Capernaja. Capernaja is going to be able to Heavy Slam both of them, especially Silvally Fairy, and kill it. To a Kyoto, Silvally Poison if it is that. And neither of them could kill it. Flamethrower could do a decent chunk, but it can't kill me. And multi-attack from Silvally Fairy won't do much over 20%. Silvally Poison will touch me. U-turn might do, 10, 12%, but that's about it. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need all the health I can get on this Pokemon. And I have a Healing Wish Gardevoir in the back. So right now, Capernaja and Gardevoir are my 2 most important Pokemon. All 4 other Pokemon are expendable. I need to preserve the Capernaja anyway because it'll outrun the Lurantis. As for the Sigilyph, keeping these Pokemon alive as well are the most important, so it just leaves the Gastrodon. But I have 2 Grass Attackers and a Dragon Dance Scrafty in the back for the Gastrodon. So because of that, I know right now that one of those 2 Pokemon plus Dragalge are the most expendable members of my team. I could play them loosely. I could double switch them in. I just need to not go overly passive as to not enable him to get double switches and optimize the sequences to where he can get into Pokemon he needs to make progress against my team. So in a way, I can suffocate him by playing aggressively with Pokemon I don't need. Noticing what you have as fodder, noticing what you can game plan around aggressively and what you need to conserve is a very important part of endgame management. And in this game, I'm going to show you how I do that. So first and foremost, I go Seismitoad here again. It's one of the 2 expandable Pokemon, and I know I live Heat Wave into Psyshock in all likelihood. So I go for a knockoff there, and it's a good roll. It's a likely roll to kill Lurantis, unless I got a min roll before, given the calcs I did. So okay, now I go Capernaja on the Silvally Fairy, and I take the multi-attack. It does 26. I'm like, that is too much damage for my comfort. But that means he's not Flamethrower because he's got max physical attack. I'm thinking it's just Swords Dance. So I go Rockstar knowing he's going to have to U-turn out. There's no way he stays in, so that's going to chip it a little bit. Because if I get a couple Stealth Rock switch-ins on it, then all of a sudden, +1 Scrafty can definitely take it out, or Gardevoir can, but also, I want to preserve Gardevoir for Healing Wish. So, okay, I know he's got the Gastrodon here, I know it's going to threaten me out, so I want to get this to out of here. I go Seismitoad here, and he goes Scald, and I soak that up, and that's great. And I'm like, okay, what do I lock into here? I locked into Power Whip, thinking, okay, if he goes to the Sigilyph, it's going to die, and if he goes to the Silvally Fairy, then it's taking 40 to 45%. It's dying to Power Whip, it's dying to Leaf Storm, and it could lose 1v1 to Scrafty. So I feel really comfortable with that, but I missed. So I'm like, okay, but that's fine, because he only went for Toxic, he didn't threaten me. Now I go to Sigilyph, and thankfully I'm able to connect there, and I feel really comfortable in this position, as now he only has 2 Pokemon left. He goes to Silvally Fairy, I'm like, okay, there is very little reason I have to switch out. He does kill me with multi-attack, which, by the way, it almost always, if not always, killed. But now I get the Gardevoir and I can execute the Healing Wish plan. Even if he Swords Dances, my Punch is at full. Plus 2 multi-attacks, only doing 55% max damage, and I kill it with multi-attack always. I'm fine just going for the Heavy Slam there. I did not make a risk at all because I didn't need to. So I just let the game play to me, and now there's no way I lose. I go to Dragalge, which again, it's the useless Pokemon. I catch the Toxic there, and I'm like, okay, it's perfect. Now, I know here he's probably going to go for a Recover or a Ground Move to try and kill me, or tank a Draco and then kill me. So I go my Rotom. Again, it's another expandable Pokemon. I go Leaf Storm here, and that's perfectly fine, because that means that if he goes to the Silvally Fairy, then all of a sudden, he's going to be into a heal range. And if he stays in, then it's dead. So now all of a sudden, I can just focus on suffocating the Silvally Fairy. So I get the kill and gas done there. He goes to the Silvally Fairy, and I'm like, okay, if he Swords Dances, that's fine. I'm just going to Volt Switch out. There's no point risking any misses or any tomfoolery. And a +2 still can't even kill me with a crit. So I minimize. See, there's no way I lose this game. This is a 100-0 game. I minimize any and all risk, and that is just really important. So that's what I did in this game. And I think that's a really great example. The next game I'm going to be bringing you guys is a game I played for the Ruins of Alpha World Cup of Pokemon against Dr. Caetano 93. Dr. Caetano 93 is someone who's played in SPL, World Cup. He's a really great black and white player. In fact, even with positive in SPL, I'd like to think I have a little edge up on him in experience, but in terms of metagame competency and level of play, he's just up there with some of the better black and white players like me, Solwind, Dice, McMegan, etc. He's a great player, and he's getting even better and better with time too, so he's going to eventually rise to our heights. But in the meantime, I know of my hands while playing him just now, so I'm using a pretty offensive Sand team. And again, we're going to go over the early game just so I can get to where I want to be in the later game and discuss what I need to do to plan around his play, basically. So I go for a Wisp turn 1. Yeah, it's just a standard procedure. Lead Rotom against the Reigns and get that burn off. He goes Ferrothorn on a Volt Switch, which is a good play by him because now he's not risking getting burned, but that's fine. So I'm okay trading a little bit in this game here. So what we do here is we trade knockoffs because that's the handshake of Black White OU. But getting that knockoff off means that my Latios and my Alakazam in the late game are both going to be doing really well. So I go for Stealth Rock, he goes for Stealth Rock, that's fine. I go Spike, he goes Spike, and I'm like, okay, he's more likely not going to set up all 3 spikes because I have no spinner, he's a spinner. So I want to go to my Rotom, and I want to get a burn off on this Ferrothorn because that's how I chip it down. Unfortunately, I missed the Will-O-Wisp, and he goes for a knockoff, which, okay, no big deal. I missed another Wisp here as he goes for the 3rd layer of spikes, which I think was a little greedy. He should have went for Whip there, but that's fine by me. I'll take it. He goes for Whip there, and thankfully I hit, but he crits. I'm like, oh, that's not fun. So now I go for a Pain Split there. I live the next power up. Unfortunately, my leftovers are knocked off from before, so I'm not able to live with the rocks, but now I can fodder this off. So what I do here is I'm like, okay, I might be in rocks range, so you think, oh, vaulting out stupid, but no. I get the fodder later, so if he ever goes for spin with Tentacruel, then I can actually let it die. Now I go to my own Ferrothorn here, and what I can do is I can force the first time Tentacruel comes in to take multiple rounds of spikes and Stealth Rocks, potentially. So that's really great for me. He goes Thunderous though, I'm like, oh, no. So what I do here is I go Power Up, and unfortunately, to make matters worse, I miss. I didn't know if he'd be Stub Variant or Agility Variant, and if he's Agility, I didn't want to risk anything. He goes Focus there, and he connects as well, but that is fine with me. I'm able to bring in my Latios, and so long as he doesn't create Hidden Power Ice, I'm actually in a great position with his Ferrothorn gone. So now I'm like, okay, at this point, stop. We're in the mid-game still, but I've noticed that with the Ferrothorn gone, Specs Dragon Pulse kills the Thunderous. It kills the Keldeo as well. Because of that, I'm like, okay, Psychic Resist is dead. Politoed lives a hit, potentially 2 hits after leftovers plus protect. Tentacruel might not live a hit after hazards, especially because I'm going to suffocate the hazard with the Rotom to block the spin because it dies to hazard. I'm Hidden Power Ice, so that kills the Dragonite as well, and Keldeo is dying. Thunderous lives a hit, even from this range, but it doesn't live 2 hits, and after another round of hazards, it's not going to die, especially since I'm assuming it's going to die to Latios here, so that's fine. That means that Alakazam and Latios are my 2 most important Pokemon. I need to play these Pokemon in the right fashion. However, I do have some expandable Pokemon. Rotom's main purpose is to be Death Fodder at this point, due to its health. Because of that, I've identified it as a predominantly Death Fodder. So if he gets the Tentacruel in and wants to threaten spin, I need to block that spin, at least in the short haul, to the point where I know I can win at that point when he gets the spin off. Garchomp, it's actually really helpful because it's Yache Berry and it's quicker than all of his Pokemon besides Keldeo. And given that piece of information, I know for a fact that it's going to come in handy, but it's also expendable. So if I need to go for an aggressive double switch or something like that, Garchomp's almost definitely going to be involved. In addition, looking at his team, knowing that it's not Scarf on Thundurus T and Scarf Politoed and Black White Overused simply isn't a very good set. It's viable, but it's not a good set. He's likely Scarf Keldeo. After taking that Hidden Power Ice, I know for a fact that I need to keep Alakazam's Sash intact if I want to have a chance at beating Scarf Keldeo. Because of that, I know that I can't be switching in Alakazam to any damaging moves, or else I'm going to Thundurus T as they run Chapel Baron. So that's worth noting, but also Sand can help with deterring leftovers from a substitute plus Dragon Dance Dragonite because that's paired very oftentimes with Toxic Spike Tentacruel. So because of that, and how offensively paced the Black and White OU's metagame is without Defog, Magic Guard, Regenerator nonsense, I know I'm able to suffocate him by just staying in with Latios here, going for the faster Dragon Pulse, that takes him out. So that's one down. Okay. Now he goes to Keldeo, and I'm like, I know for a fact it's Scarf, but if he's bringing it here, that means that he's locking in the Hidden Power Ice probably. So I'm actually going to use this opportunity to fire off the Rotom here. And now I'm able to bring in the Alakazam. Alakazam now here is going to force the Tuikion into Politoed, hopefully, but also it could kill the Tentacruel. And it could kill the Keldeo, and if you kill the Keldeo, then all of a sudden, Latios just wins. His Scarf Keldeo, the only thing that runs, is gone. He goes Tentacruel as the fodder, that's smart. So I'm able to take that out, but now he can go Politoed. I know for a fact I have to absolutely switch out my Alakazam here. Because switching out the Alakazam means I preserve the Sash. Preserving the Sash means that I'm able to take the Keldeo on in a one-on-one scenario in rain. Or even in sand if he gets Hydro Kills. So it's important. Anyway, he Scalds there. I just want to let my Tyranitar go because Tyranitar is the least useful member. Again, it's the most expendable member. So he just goes ahead and gets his Protect Lefty shenanigan. I just pursue in case he switches out thinking I might be faster, but yeah, no, he doesn't let that happen. So now I know for here I have to go to my Latios, and Draco is going to kill this as long as it's not max special defense and I get a low roll. And it's also going to kill the Dragonite and the Keldeo, so he's just going to let this go. And I'm in a fine spot now. So I'm able to connect with that Draco, thankfully, take that down. That puts me in a 3-2 position now. And he brings in the Dragonite. I'm like, okay, even if it's like max special defense, which none of them run, even the sub Dragon Dance sets, which run max HP, run very little special defense and a lot of speed anyway to outrun some things at +1 or +2. Because of that, I know I'm safe to Draco here. If there's extreme speed, then I could just go to my Garchomp. And given the range that Keldeo's in after Stealth Rock and Hazards, I could actually win the game anyway. But that didn't even have to come to play because Draco was able to take this out here. And now it looks like I'm in the clear. As the Keldeo comes in here. And the Keldeo can't beat the Sash Alakazam as I said before. So that's going to be a wrap. Didn't even have to use the back foot Garchomp there. But it was great to have in reserves in case he was a different Dragonite set. Or a different Keldeo set. And Yache Berry needed to be procced. But yeah, no, that didn't come into play. So that's just another safely maneuvered endgame. And it might have looked bleak after the initial missing of a couple of Wisps and crit on the Power Whip, but I was able to really preserve the things I needed. And sometimes that's all you need. It's just 1 or 2 Pokemon to form a win condition, a win path in the late game, and I was able to do that here. And this is a good example of that as well. Next up, we have a game for the UU World Cup of Pokemon, Underused World Cup Pokemon. I'm in Black White Underused. It's my favorite tier of all time, guys. I love Black White UU. I'm against a really formidable opponent, Alcyone, someone who's beaten me in this tier before and played a lot of tournaments, so I know I have my hands full here. And this matchup isn't really ideal. I don't have a great switch into Choice Band Durant, barring Hustle Misses, and Subcombine Suicune is annoying, but I do have the Refresh plus Roar on my Blastoise now. I know a lot of you guys are definitely not familiar with this metagame. It's a metagame that unfortunately is very dated and out there, but I still love it, and it's a really good endgame that I want to highlight as well. So let's go through the early game first. I'm not going to bother going through teams because you guys don't really know this metagame, I'm sure. Anyway, I go Victini here in turn 1. I am Sleep Talk because keep in mind, Black-White sleep turns were set when you switch out. So therefore, a lot of choice Pokemon that only need 3 moves run Sleep Talk in the 4th slot. However, Sleep was banned from Black-White OU because it was so broken, so it's really only in lower tiers now. So things like Victini or Heracross can fit that Sleep Talk in an extra slot here. So I go for the Sleep Talk here, and he scouts for that, which is a smart play. I get V-Crate off, and I'm Choice Band, so that does 53, but A, a lot of Gligar run speed to outrun -1 Victini, and B, I don't want to risk getting another move or waking up, so I go to Bronzong here knowing we can just trade Stealth Rock because I have a spinner and he does not, so that's actually pretty good for me here. He goes U-turn, I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got. He goes to Durant, that's fine with me. I go for the Earthquake, I do 25 here, like, okay. Now, I'm scared of a Honeclaw set, but I know Choice Band's far more common. Choice Band's actually set I popularized on Durant 4 to 5 years ago, back when I was like my heyday for Black White UU, maybe even 6-7 years ago, honestly. But yeah, he goes for X Scissor, it does 75 to my Bronzong, which is probably special defensive. I protect him, like, okay. I can stomach a couple of those with a few things, but I want to go Mienshao because Mienshao is quicker and it always lives this barring crit. So yeah, you see I live at 20 and I can just regen out because the thing is that Mienshao is useless as long as this Gligar is live. So I go U-turn here, I get my Regenerator, and I bring in my Blastoise to force Hazards off the field, which is a really good position for me. He goes U-turn, only does 9%, that's fine with me. He brings in Zapdos instead of Roserade, which I find a bit interesting, I'm not going to lie. But I can now kind of tell what the Zapdos set is, just in the fact that he doesn't have leftovers and the spin did 4%. So he's probably a bit more offensive, but he's subbing up, he's sub-roost offensive, which you don't see every day. I go for a turn there. And I'm like, wow, this is actually really annoying for my team to deal with, so I don't want to screw around at all. I go return again, and I chip the Gligar. He switches his Zapdos out. I go Nidoqueen here knowing, okay, I might be slower, but Ice Beam always kills him, and I always live Earthquake, and I don't need the health on this for anything. So, knowing that, I predict him to go to a 6-Fat Snorlax, and I go for a Focus Blast that's going to kill him, or to a kill him. I do 63, and now I know Earth Power is a good roll to kill here, better than the chance Focus Blast hitting, but he's Protect, so now I go for another Focus Blast, and So, I know it's going to be probably a Calm Mind, Protect, Scald variant with the Toxic Spikes and Roserade, so I just go Scald here, saying, okay, he's probably going to switch out, he's scared like Toxic or Roar, so he goes Rose, and then he makes a great play, he doubles to Suicune as I go Snorlax. I'm like, oh damn, I can't let this get burned right now, so I actually go for Toxic though, predicting him to go for the burn, and I miss, and Toxic Snorlax is not really a set that's used, but I knew it would catch things like Suicune or Rhyperior, and that would open up a game a ton for Choice Band Victini and Mienshao potentially, so because of that I really want to get it, but I missed. I'm like, no, it's not Rhyperior, that Toxic won the game on the spot. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. This really, really, really sucks. Because now this Kun knows I'm Toxic. I lose that element of surprise that I accounted for in team building, and I have to play around a lot of burns. Thankfully, I haven't revealed Roar and Blastoise yet, so if I force a sub, I can actually force Chip on it with that plus Stealth Rock. So not all hope is lost, but this is not good here. So, what do I need to win? I need Blastoise because it's Refresh plus Roar, so it soft checks Suicune. I need one of Victini or Mienshao to outrun Suicune, potentially Revenge Kill it, but also I probably just need Mienshao a lot more because it also Revenge Kills Durant. What do I not need? I do not need Bronzong. Bronzong got rocks up. Bronzong walls Roserade. So Bronzong is just going to be a switch in the Roserade or fodder against Durant. I do not need Nidoqueen. I need Nidoqueen offensively to make progress, but I don't need it defensively. And seeing as I already have a Pokemon up on him and Stealth Rocks, that means it's on the back foot. So if I can force a trade with Nidoqueen, that would be delightful. Trading with Nidoqueen would mean that's good. So ideally, I want to try and double switch Nidoqueen in on an ideal turn and double switch up. But I need Snorlax, I need Blastoise, I need Mienshao, and I could technically need Victini over Mienshao if the Durant falls, though. So one of those two can be expendable potentially. So yeah, that's what I'm outlining here. Now let's see how it goes. I miss the Toxic. I'm like, oh, damn, that sucks. So he goes Protect here. I'm like, okay, he's probably going to sub up here. So I'm going to predict that. And no, I don't predict that. Never mind. I knew he was sub, but I was hoping he'd go for the burn anyway. But I know that, what was the idea was that I don't mind if he's sub because I'm Refresh plus Roar. Yeah, I just mainly want to see if he's rest there. Okay, I wasn't fully ready to conclude a set yet at that point, I must admit. I was getting a little ahead of myself. I was like a sequence or two ahead. Anyway, I reveal Refresh there, and that's great. He's scalding me down still, and he knows I'm Roar probably at this point. Yeah, okay. And I roar into Durant, which is great because I actually live an exit from Durant, but I know I need the Blastoise. So again, instead of being able to take out the Durant, I just let the Bronzong go. The Bronzong is now dead. So he misses the first. I'm like, okay, I'm getting leftovers. I'm not going to get back up to 75%. So yeah, he hits the second one. It would have killed from fall if he crit. So now I go Nidoqueen. Like, I'm fine forcing this trade here, but he decides to give me Roserade on the Ice Beam instead, which is a bit odd. And keep in mind, Durant's got no special defense, so Ice Beam right there. Now he goes to the Suicune, and I'm like, okay, he combines here. I'm fine just taking some chip off of this. 29% from this Earth Power there from Life Orb Modest Queen is great. I go Blastoise now, and I'm like, okay, after I roar him out, he's going to barely be above half health. That's actually really good for me. So I'm really happy with that. And he goes for the Scald again, which is fine by me. No burn, which is great because I don't have to burn a refresh turn. He goes Gligar, which is even better for me because now I could just heal up against it. U-turn's barely going to do anything. I go Scald. If I get a burn on the Zapdos, that's amazing for me. And I Scald. It does 28 and no burn. That's unfortunate there. And I go Nidoqueen here just knowing, okay, I should be able to 1v1 it probably. Unless he's got like a lot of weird investment. But I'm trying to scout for hidden power But he goes sub, which was a good play, but again, Snorlax, I do need it, but I don't need it healthy if I take out the Zapdos, because Zapdos is the main thing I need it for, so long as I can continue to suffocate the Coon, which I did before. So he's going for returns. I predict a switch there to Gligar item-wise. So I take him out there and I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, yeah, Gligar's at 43. It only takes 23. So I go Blastoise here. I'm like, okay, that's fine. He goes Rocks. I'm like, damn, I got to get those off ASAP. Earthquake crit, and that's a huge problem because, again, it's something I need. But now I'm in turret range. He goes U-turn, and he goes Zapdos here, and I get a crit with Scald in turret range, and it takes it out. Now, return was going to do over half to that, and I did have Toxic, but given that he crit me, that crit really helped because now I'm less needed. Blastoise is it's only needed for Kun now. So it helped, but I don't think I needed that, and especially I wouldn't have needed it if he didn't get the crit before or the Toxic dodge, because if I hit Toxic, I just won this game like 4 or 5-0 easy, but that helps a ton. So we'll take it. And now he goes Durant, and I'm like, okay. So again, Victini's the most expendable member of the team. He goes Iron Head too, which is amazing because that's not a 2 KO. So if I get the any attack here, literally any attack, Bolt Strike would have killed, U-turn would have killed. So that was great. So I get that there. Then I get that done there. Yeah, okay. Now I'm like, okay, I might as well because, and I get the U-turn, which again, any attack would have been great because V-Crit would have put him in range where sub wouldn't have been broken. He goes Scald there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna spam U-turn here. That's basically the idea, because I need to do that now with Blastoise weakened. Because a Scald Burn and a switch into Blastoise means I'm going to die. So he goes Calm Mind, I'm like, okay, that's perfect. I could just spam Roar now. That is so perfect. And if it's last month's weakened, then I'm totally fine against it, so long as he doesn't burn Snorlax on the first try. Or I get a Toxic off. So yeah, I think I'm in a good spot here. He Scald, it doesn't burn, I Roar, I'm like, great, great. Okay, this is perfect. So he gets Gligar in, and I'm in Torrent range here. I go Manta here. And he goes Earthquake, takes me out. That's perfect, because now I can bring Nidoqueen in, so I don't have Deadmon, Roar, Blastoise against last month's Suicune, because Roar can't roar it out for the last Pokemon. So what I did was, now I don't need Blastoise anymore since it's last month's Suicune with Earth Powered, even after coming to be a roll. So he's killed me with Scald, and now Snorlax should be able to take the 1v1 here, so long as he doesn't burn this Scald, and I get a low roll on return, and any nonsense like that, and he doesn't burn. So it's great. I could have Toxic there, but if he subbed on Toxic, then he gets 2 chances to burn, so it's just awkward. But yeah, no, and I still have 20 return PP left, and that's a good game. So yeah, it really matters that endgame wild, and that's another win. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video on endgames. Again, definitely be sure to check out the Jamvad book, The Art of Competitive Pokemon. And yeah, have a great day, guys. All right, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the book. Link is in the description. All right, peace out, guys. Bye.